These last 4 years have ruined me. Well, that really hurt. So why on earth am I still riding a bike? It started in March 2020.
Follow lockdown procedures.
Initiating lockdown sequence.
Lockdown Records presents...
I was mainly in the garden getting drunk. And that was probably because I was trying to escape the thought of my successful fitness business potentially going under due to COVID and the world coming to an end. I was also a fat little pig. And at this point in time, if you'd have told me that I would be wearing skin-tight sports gear that gives me a camel toe, shaving my legs and giving my wife the ick, I'd have probably thought you were a bit of a jabroni. And if you'd have said that I'm going to be obsessed with FTP, I would have probably thought you meant a full-time job because maybe my business is going to go under in the middle of COVID. So how did I end up 1,574 days later, addicted to cycling and quite happily shaving my legs to the disgust of my wife? I got bored and I was spending so much money on Amazon on little toys and gadgets to keep my mind occupied that my friend Ben, who's actually this kind of mentor, reminded me that back in 2015, 5 years prior, I'd bought a road bike, which I'd ridden only a grand total of like 9 times. The last time of which was when I did my first ride over 40 miles, in which I bonked and died a slow death. And then maybe it was time to now get over it. So with no cars on the road, I decided to get it back out. But it wasn't this bike. But also, did I decide to shave my legs and wear this kind of clothing? Absolutely not. Because I didn't want to cream my gooch, put on all this faff, and I also didn't want to give my wife the ick. By the way, what is the ick? I had the same question when my wife kept saying this to me every time I put cycling gear on. The ick is a slang term that describes a sudden feeling of disgust or repulsion towards a romantic partner or love interest. I used to get that said to me a lot by my wife. I can kind of see why. I went out, all the neighbours were twitching the curtains because the old hour curfew we had back then, and also when I got back they opened the curtains again to make sure that I wasn't sneezing all over their driveway trying to kill them. Oh, and by the way, obviously I had to tell my only cycling friend that I went out in tracksuit bottoms and trainers because I knew that would really annoy him. So after sending that message to Ben, it only took me another 2 more rides to be back out in full-blown lycra, repulsing my wife, which was a bad idea because, well, it just made my life quite hard through COVID because obviously not many women like men in lycra. So why did I do it? Well, number one, I did 2 rides and I still thought I could be a pro athlete, so I got my lycra back on. And then GCN told me that it would make me faster on my bike with my average speed because, you know, cleats and tighter clothing. So I did that throughout the summer, really enjoyed it, but then it started raining and I came back indoors. Stopping riding my bike during winter was actually quite short-lived because I started getting adverts from YouTube and Zwift. And on Zwift, there was this guy called Matthew van der Poel and I thought he looked quite cool. I thought I could be like Michael van der Poel. And he was racing his bike, training online. So I thought if I don't buy that, I'm going to end up just like putting my bike away, never riding my bike again, or at least for another 5 years. And just like that, I got addicted to this indoor riding game, training online indoors, racing indoors. And I loved it, to my wife's disgust, because she could now watch me live and in demand in the living room without going out, giving her the ick. And then when I did go back out at Christmas, I wore this. Then the next addiction started, FTP, which doesn't mean full-time position at a new job, which is what I might have needed if COVID kept going bad. It actually meant functional threshold power, which is a power of watts that you can put out on your bike for an hour. My first fitness test I did, which was a ramp test on Zwift, I got 195 watts as my FTP, which is, I guess, is kind of okay if it's your first ever ride. But Tour de France pros, they're probably putting out 400 watts and over 5 watts per kilogram, Way more than me, plus they're like 3 stone lighter. How is that even possible? I have to admit that did make me feel quite weak and pathetic, which was made worse because I was comparing myself to people who, well, look quite weak. I saw myself as my old 20-year-old self, but actually in reality I was more looking like this. Determined to get that 195 watt FTP up, I set my eyes on doing some online Zwift races. And I entered every Cat D race going, and I lost at every Cat D race going. And I had 2 goals: to stop coming last in Cat D races, as well as boosting up my 195 watt FTP. So fast forward into 2021, and I had an old friend called Lee who I used to hang around with when I was younger, and he was doing TTs at Reading Cycling Club along the A4. And I thought that looked pretty cool. And he looked pretty fast. He was pretty much on a spaceship. And I thought that looks a bit different. So I started chatting to Lee again. And next thing you know, I'm down the A4 doing a 10-mile TT. I was a nervous wreck, but I was quite confident that I was probably one of the youngest there. Everyone else seemed 10, 20, even 30 years older than me. So I thought, oh, you know, I might do all right here. No, absolutely not. I came right at the bottom of the men that day, and it questioned whether I was fit at any point in my entire existence. They were just another level. So after that, I joined the club. They were very encouraging, and also no one called me a loser, which was quite good because I did feel like a total loser that day. But I had a mission to beat now. Not only was it winning Zwift races and hiring my 195 watt FTP, I then had to beat my 10-mile score every week. And I only relied on one thing, and that was tips of GCN, how to get faster, how to get more aero, and every week I would put my photos side by side of each other. But obviously, the main way to get faster isn't by training and trying to improve your time, it's by buying a new bike. And as soon as that came into my head, the marketing completely got me, and I ended up with Julia. Named after Julia Roberts. She's one of my favourites. In fact, my favourite. And we've been together ever since. Now, did that mean I started smashing my TT times? No. No, the thing is, you can only buy yourself so much speed. It's the engine that really counts. Even though I had like the fastest bike in the world, according to the marketing, I certainly wasn't the fastest rider in the world. Definitely not the fastest TT rider in the world, and I was still consistently coming near the bottom of the TT scoreboard every week. But I loved it, and I loved being part of the club because it didn't depend on me being an under 11, under 12 or under 13 kid to be part of it. It opens up for everyone, which was awesome. But after the TT season, I was on a bit of a down. I thought, oh, what am I going to do? I'm going to get back onto Zwift, and it's a bit boring being inside now. Kind of used to being racing outside. So this is what happened next.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel.
Jeff's videos kept me going through Zwift that winter of 2021 going into 2022. And I fell in love watching crit racing, and I thought it just looked so sick. What is crit racing? I guess the simplest way of putting it is it's like go-karting, but you're on a road bike and you're doing it for about an hour and you're surrounded by about 30, 40 other people. It looked insane. So I wanted to do that as soon as I could the following year. And sure enough, I reached out to someone at the club, and my friend Chris told me all about it. I couldn't wait. It was my chance to be the pro athlete that I'd always wanted to be. So I loaded up my car, signed on to Abingdon, and the next thing I know, I was in a race. I came 12th that day, which was okay. I was hoping to get a top 10 because top 10 gets points, but I thought, you know what, I can improve for next week. So I went to the following week, and guess what happened?
I'm gone. I'm dead.
I got dropped like a sack of potatoes, and it took me 18 frustrating races to go from Cat 4 to Cat 3. I needed to get 12 points. Luckily though, I managed to get my final race of Cat 4 on video, where I thought I won, but I actually came third because someone got up the road. And at that point, I was kind of recording the videos because I was trying to inspire other people to race as well, because that's what inspired me, people in America recording their crit races. I thought, you know what, I'll do the same here. And if you're still watching this video, please subscribe and check out the rest of the content. I later went on that summer to win the Reading Road Race Championships in Hillingdon. And that was the first trophy I won since being a teenager getting repeatedly punched in the head. And I don't care how old you are, winning a trophy is pretty cool. As I rolled out of 2022 and into 2023, I found out I had cancer, pretty much at the exact same time as I was saying goodbye to one of my best friends, Steve, to it. It was easily one of the very worst times in my life. We'd grown up together since teenagers, doing things like Glastonbury, skiing, stag do's, weddings, not just bike rides. Losing him to cancer and then myself getting it was just surreal. And it made me dive into cycling even deeper because I thought the healthier I am riding my bike, the better chance I have at beating this cancer. But also it gave me an escapism that I needed for the mental break. You see, my mind was literally 24/7 all about Steve and losing like one of my best friends. And then it was 24/7 all about what the hell has happened to my body. Even though I was super fit at the time, I couldn't really wrap my head around that if I left something, I was potentially just dying. Luckily, I had it removed and I got the all clear, and I'm now on surveillance for the next 5 years. They said to me that we don't want to give you chemo because you're so healthy right now, it would be a detriment to make you weaker. So if anything crops up in the next 5 years, we'll be able to tackle it straight away. And for that, I have to thank cycling for making me strong enough to not have to have like rounds of chemo in my life. As soon as I started recovering pretty well from that, I shifted my focus back to criteriums and road races because that gave me so much focus in the previous year. And I got myself to like an all-time highest fitness, broken shoulder, which was super annoying because I was at the pointy end of the Cat 3 races. And I was going from category 3 to get 40 points to go to category 2. And I was doing quite well at the time. Not knowing how to handle my first crash, it kind of weirdly spurred me on even more because at the time I'd been doing really good. So I just did what I knew best and got back on the Zwift with a dodgy shoulder. And it was at that point I decided to get a coach because I was a bit paranoid that in a few months' time I was riding from London to Paris with my friend Ben to help raise money for Bowel Cancer UK in memory of my friend Steve. And luckily we did that and we raised £4,426. And weirdly, even though it was around such an awful event in our lives, it was actually probably the best few days of my life doing that challenge. After that, I managed to get a few more races in, but understandably, I didn't quite get to category 2 that year, just too much had gone on. So that became a goal for 2024. Now, into 2024, I am well past 1,000 days of trying cycling. I'm not having a bad year. I've got 35 points, so I need 40 to get to category 2 from category 3. Nearly there. I've had a few podiums, second and third places, and I also did the National Masters Crit Championships where my coach Ken managed to get second place, which is awesome to see. But guess what? I've done 92 races and never won a race, which brings me back to the start of this video. Why on earth am I still riding a bike? Well, I love it. I've loved what it's given me over the last 4 years. And even though I've done 92 races now and not won a race, and I've had to put up with my kids after every race saying, "Daddy, why didn't you win a race today?" Well, hopefully I'm just giving them a bit of gritty determination that no matter what, win, lose or draw, they can keep pushing to try and achieve their goals. And if they can do that, that's fantastic. Now, if you want to find out whether I win my next race, which will be my 93rd race, seriously, I'm determined to win it. Check it out. It'll be in the video just here. Watch that video and find out whether I win my next race and go to category 2.